just so you know we're recording. And we can chop up. How are you?
I am great. I am great. So good to see you. I am so sorry I missed you when you were in for a tour. What was that, last week?
Last week you are busy bossing. So
Man, it is nonstop, but I'm so glad you got a chance to come visit.
oh my God, yes. And so when Marcus,
Mhm.
when he reached out, Marcus Wilson reached out and told me, one, I was like, oh my gosh, I know you're like in heaven on this rock star team.
Yeah.
But then he told me that you had meetings, so I totally understand. But I was so grateful that he reached out
Hmm.
and asked, had I ever been through? And I'm like, no, but I'm actually scheduled because I want to
Yeah.
have Leslie on, especially when you guys are seeking um, and inquiring about different things in the within the community as I've been
Sure.
following
Yeah.
all that's going on. And oh, that totally changed my perspective for our time together now, right?
Good, 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 good. I'm glad because I always tell people you have to almost see it to believe it. It
And it's
it
still
is
much
one of
to take
those,
in. There's still much
yeah.
to take in, even when you get there and you get a chance to take it all in. And you're like, really?
Mm-hmm.
This is what you're doing? Like, I asked one question. I said, so who's the woman you're looking for? Because that
Yeah,
might
yeah.
be me if you're offering all of this.
Well, I tell you, it has certainly been me at stages in life. So, you're never that far removed from potentially being a wrong woman. So I definitely can count several times in my not too distant past where I needed that community and
Yeah.
needed the services that we will offer and, just needed that support. It's not necessarily about a hand out, it's just a hand up. And sometimes you just need that boost.
Yeah, yeah. I just want to go ahead and just put a pause right here and welcome everybody to Conversations in the Nick of Time, powered by Sparkman Pathway to Careers and KSTL 690 AM, housed here and headquartered in St. Louis, Missouri. I am your host, Nikki Roach, and I am just delighted, over the moon excited to have with me President Leslie Gill
Yeah.
of Rung for Women, and that is also headquartered here in St. Louis. As you heard, they're all about giving hands up. We're going to learn more about that, but I want to get into who Lady Gill is and this transition of you having such an extensive background in nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
And on this platform, we talk about leadership excellence and leadership accidents. And
Mm-hmm.
so, with your experience, and now we find you in this new space, but you helped with the whole shift in regards to building a building,
Mm-hmm.
coming up, developing curriculum programming. Now you're doing recruitment and interviews. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
What is causing you to show up in excellence?
It's interesting because you said leadership in accident and excellence. And I always say, for me, Rung for Women is a unicorn. So I'm going to imagine that's part accident, right? And we are certainly a learning organization that is really focused on innovation and excellence. So yeah, I landed here because in many ways it was my time to be here. I, as you mentioned, have spent most of my career in nonprofit leadership, both here in St. Louis. I worked in Atlanta for a while and started my career actually in Washington, D.C. in local government. And so this new venture, this startup, Rung for Women, is a great culmination of all the things that I've done. I also say that, it's a unicorn because rarely, if ever, in your career do you have a chance to build something from scratch. Yeah, build it from scratch. Know that it will have generational impact.
Mhm.
And right now, I'm so fortunate that our founder has said, you know what, I'm going to give you the runway to bring my vision to reality. And so right now, I don't even have to stress about how I'm going to pay for it. So
It's just
for
the vision. It's
it's
just
the vision, it's the opportunity to plan, it's the opportunity to help leverage existing assets in St. Louis. As you well know, there are a lot of phenomenal nonprofit organizations. But we didn't want to just be another nonprofit. We really wanted to bring organizations together to see that if we come together, can we move people farther faster? Because we're all working collaboratively and we have this co-design model that all of our co-designers have bought into, that we built together. And so it really is a unicorn. It's, accident and excellence all wrapped up in one.
do you consider yourself the unicorn also?
I would say my career has been a bit of a unicorn. All things that, I have really enjoyed,
Mhm.
all career stops along the way that have made me better each time. I learned a lot of emotional sacrifice that I didn't realize at the time that I was giving, but I was built for this. I mean, this is really my purpose, and I thrive in change. I thrive in helping people. I really thrive on impact,
Mhm.
and knowing that going to work every day for me is purposeful and really rewarding.
Yeah. You mentioned emotional sacrifice.
Hmm.
That just stuck out to me. I can
Yeah.
understand the meaning behind it, but I want to give you the chance to unpack that for us a little bit. There may be other leaders who are listening and emerging leaders. Like, what did that mean to you, and how did you work through that?
Yeah. So, I've worked in some really tough environments with difficult circumstances. As you know, I was the CEO of Annie Malone Children and Family Service Center. Really hard work, emotionally exhausting, but incredibly rewarding. And, my time in college access, all that you pour into students to get them to and through college. Very emotional, lots of emotional sacrifice. My time in local government, meeting neighbors, getting to know the community. You put a lot of yourself into those roles. And, you don't realize how much you sacrifice until you step back and realize, like, gosh, I have really given a lot of myself and poured into people in ways that, I love doing, but you don't realize how much that really depletes you over time.
Right.
And so, what Rung has really allowed me to do is replenish. Not that I was ever in a point where I wasn't loving what I was doing, it just was hard. It was really, really difficult, especially to see kids who, at the hands of adults, have been abused and neglected. Like, I have a 9-year-old daughter, and I would see 9-year-old kids coming into my care. That's emotionally exhausting. And so, this is the first time in my career that I've had an opportunity to look forward
Okay.
and really help think about how do we change the trajectory of lives in our community so that we don't continue to see these cycles of poverty that are emotionally exhausting for us all, between poverty and health disparities and crime and all of the things, that social ills that really impact our community. Rung for me is a solution to help look forward, not back, to
Yeah.
start to break some of those cycles and really, elevate lives, help women change the trajectory for themselves and their families, so that hopefully we won't see kids going into foster care. We start to change some of those trends.
Right. You totally understand the point of view, and as I always say, those ripple effects, or as they say, when you drop that pebble in that pond, that ripple effect affects even not just that family but that community.
No question.
And when I walked through your halls, I mean, goosebumps. I have goosebumps even right now because that's what I saw. Like this shifts a community.
Mhm.
It shifts, and even though you have women are the focus, there's still children and then some of some other layers of service that you provide. But that woman cannot go into your space or on that other side of that wooden door
Mhm.
where she leaves everything else behind,
Yep.
and then come out the same. But everywhere she goes, I mean,
Yeah.
she's soft
Yeah.
shifting the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's very intentional. And, we all say you can't pour from an empty cup, right? And so as women, we spend probably more of our time trying to pour from this empty cup. And so Rung is really designed to respond to every need. So whether it's daily grab and go meals. So as a mom, I don't have to think about like, oh my God, I can't go invest in myself because I got to go home and cook dinner. Or, Marley has a project for school. So I have to forego, what I'm interested in to help her. And we're not at all saying like forfeit those responsibilities. We're saying bring the family,
Yeah.
bring the children. We will make sure that they're fed, that they have homework help, so that, mom or caring adult, whatever the case may be, can invest in herself. Because as long if her cup is full, everyone else will be able to drink, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
we're all about filling up her cup, helping her elevate her life, ultimately to make more money so that, we see a increase in the middle class, a stronger, healthier, more financially sound middle class. It's really life changing. I mean, it just building it has really been life changing.
That was like, so you started in 2017
Mhm.
as president of Rung for Women. And at that time, the building had not begun, plans hadn't begun. It was just the announcement you were coming. There was going to be a shift in the vision and the delivery of that vision. Um, what were you thinking? Like, what did I get myself
You
into?
know what, Nikki? So literally when I was recruited for the role, the search firm said, there's this new thing. We can't tell you who's behind it or what it is. It doesn't even really have a name yet, but it's gonna help women. And I'm like, okay, like that sounds interesting, but tell me more. And then I went through the process and later learned that it was the refresh and Rung 2.0. I was an avid shopper at the resale clothing boutique. So I was familiar with Rung, but I did not know that our founder, Allie Hogan, had decided to like embark upon this brand new vision. And so as I moved through the process, I just became really overwhelmed with excitement because these things don't happen, and nonprofits have been around for hundreds of years. And even as a nonprofit leader in some really well-established organizations, you don't get to go in and start over. Most of the time you're trying to
I
fit.
mean, in every way, though. This is the crazy part. In every way.
Yes. 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 So I had no idea when I took the role that I was going to be building a building. Didn't know that. Had no clue because we hadn't decided that.
So how did you educate yourself though for such a major undertaking?
Well, so there were a couple of models that the board had been looking at across the country. And so there was a model in Boston called Empath. And then there was a model in Cincinnati, Ohio called CityLink Center. And so the board said to me, we've been looking at these two models. We think there's something there. There are pieces that we like of both, but we don't know how to do this. I mean, and we had a 3-member board at the time, right? So I quickly jumped in. I went to visit both of those organizations, learned as much as I could, both dramatically different than what we are today. we thought at one point we would replicate the Cincinnati model and just bring it to St. Louis. And then we were like, no, we're gender specific. We know that their success, so Cincinnati, they were having the best success with participants who were making $27,000 to $30,000 a year. But they were really more of a crisis organization. So they were working with clients who were, recently incarcerated or homeless, kind of at the bottom rung. But the success was with those who were like working really hard and, trying to grow and gain new skills, but just, needed some help. And so we were like, aha, that's our group. Our group is that middle group.
I love this because you took the time to define what complemented the vision.
Yes.
Not just we're going to serve all, we're all for all women,
No.
or we're for women, just show up.
No. Yeah, Allie was really clear. Like, she didn't want to create another crisis organization. St. Louis has an abundance of organizations that will help stop the bleeding, get you stable. But through our research, both locally and nationally, we found almost no organizations, maybe a few, none that were gender specific, that really worked with that middle, the working poor, to help them get up the ladder, the rungs on the ladder, and not fall back into crisis. I mean, there were no organizations out there. CityLink Center was maybe the closest, but again, they were working with men, women, all economic backgrounds, all, all sorts of backgrounds. And so we were like, that's not really who we are. That's not who we are. And so we were deeply committed to, women who, for in most cases, $50,000 would be a really good salary, right? So $50,000 or less was our sweet spot. So we know that, once you get above 50, you get into, if you're a woman with one child, $55,000, $60,000 really is a family sustaining wage. And so that means that you have what you need and some of what you want, so that you can save, you can prepare for college, you can prepare for retirement, whatever the case may be. We didn't want people to just get in, or women to just get into, jobs that paid a living wage, right? We want a family sustaining wage, which, there's a distinct difference. Living wage is you just living. Family sustaining means you can take care of your family.
Right. And oftentimes without working 2 and 3 jobs.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have benefits, you have health care, you have all the things that will help you grow in life and really prepare for your future.
Right. While giving thought to all of that you're building for the women, let's shift it a little bit and focus on the partners that you have. It's a very, very unique concept because it is a one-stop shop.
Mm-hmm.
One-stop location for any woman who's coming to be a member in this space at Rung. And what's interesting is that there's some very unique, and you can tell it's very intentional, but it's just a phenomenal concept to where, like when you said, not just you want a livable wage, like we want
family sustaining. We don't want we want family sustaining.
Yes, thank you for correcting.
Sure.
So once we get there, though, how to even arrive at that, but to sustain that and even move beyond with these partners. Now, how did that come about in regards to who you picked? And
so it was really interesting because part of the model in Cincinnati had these organizations that were co-located in their building. But what was different about CityLink Center is they were all under one roof, but they had separate entrances, right? So you would walk in and be like, oh, I'm going to the Urban League, or, oh, I'm going to get my eyes checked. It was sort of a center concept, but you could go there for a variety of different services. And so, again, what makes us different is we wanted women to come to Rung, and we wanted them to not have to tell their story multiple times. So we have a shared database that all of our partner organizations use. We collect only one set of data and we share that among our partners so that it's not like, oh, well, this organization is going to take credit. No, when you commit to being a co-designer for Rung, we are in this together and we are truly collaborative. And we actually designed a proprietary system that would allow us to share data across a variety of platforms.
And, and with the work that you're doing, you talk about retention,
Yes,
success,
yes.
catching gaps, but
Mhm.
also in trends. You can do that.
All of that. Yeah. And what's beautiful about it is, when you walk in the door, you present yourself, you apply, you give us all your information. And we do like this scoring methodology that gives us a score on a scale of 0 to 100 of like where you're starting. And over time, we will look at how you're moving, how you're trending, what categories are you being most successful in. And so, a real focus around wellness, because we know, particularly for women and women of color, some of those health disparities keep us from being successful professionally. So both mental health and physical health. And you asked about like how we selected the partners. We actually did a competitive RFP process. And I think it was June or July of 2018. So we sent out a call to nonprofits in the region and said, come hear about this new concept. And there we hosted, the United Way hosted us, and we probably had a couple hundred executive directors in the room. And we launched at that point and told them what we were trying to do. And those that there were, probably about 40 or 50 that applied. And from that group, we, reviewed their 990s, talked to their boards, interviewed their EDs. And really our ask, Nikki, was that they bring the one thing that they do really well. So we didn't want a bunch of organizations that were jack of everything. We wanted the Jane. We wanted you to bring the one thing that if you stopped your business today and said, we're not going to do anything other than this, that is what we wanted them to bring to Rung. And so once we got through that exercise, the 9 or so organizations that are co-located with us now rose to the top.
And you mentioned, yes, that health and wellness. When we talk about like who was selected.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of all the names, but I know you have financial.
Yes.
Wellness. You have mental health and wellness. You have actual doctors.
Yes.
In the building. This
yeah.
I think it was like mortgage. I think it was like
yes.
exercise.
Yes. Yeah. So we have a
demonstration kitchen to teach them how to cook.
Yes.
with a garden with fresh veggies and stuff.
Yes. Yes. All of it. Yeah, we really wanted a real intentional focus around wellness. And so I would say the wellness area of our work has the most amount of partner organizations. We have a medical center. So women, once they become members, they can become patients of Family Care Health Center and get everything from primary care to well women to pediatrics. Right on site at Rung. So you can make your appointments to see Dr. Kanika Turner, who is our attending physician, African-American female, phenomenal, has done all of her training here in St. Louis and really is committed to family medicine. So, Dr. Turner is on site now 2 days a week. And then as our membership grows, she will have more hours at Rung. And then, of course, fitness and nutrition, a real focus on, getting women physically well. And the beauty of what we've designed is the fitness and nutrition provider can work with the medical side with consent from the member, and those two entities are talking to each other, so that if she is presenting pre-diabetic, her nutrition and exercise regimen is really tailored towards her individual needs. And so Fit and Food Connection is our partner in the food and nutrition. Then we have the collective STL, so really focused on yoga and mindfulness, an African American owned yoga studio here in St. Louis. They're really bringing this philosophy around restorative practice and people resting and being well. And so we have yoga multiple times a week, mindfulness, painting, art, and then there's, of course, mental health, right? So Safe Connections and Provident, both providing mental health services. So we'll have two licensed therapists on site, only doing hours at Rung for our members. And then, of course, food. So, we wanted to be able to expose members who perhaps live in food deserts to fresh quality food. And so our relationship with Urban Harvest STL allows us to grow food on site. 50% of what we yield we'll use in our commercial and demonstration kitchen. The other 50% members can take back to their neighborhoods or will distribute to our local neighbors. And so I'm really excited about the opportunity for us to also, pay it forward a little bit beyond just the work we do with our members, but allowing them to take what they're learning back to their own communities. And then, of course, there's the career side of things, which I'm sure you had lots of fun talking to Marcus about. And the goal there is to really, each member will have a career goal. And the goal could be to grow in her existing field or to change, so try something totally new. And so we will curate opportunities on site around training and certification, and then in real time, match our members with employers through a social capital program that is really robust, that gets them exposed to mentor partners, that gets them exposed to career pathways in real time with our relationship with the Women's Foundation. And then once they make more money, and Launch Code will, I'm not sure if Marcus mentioned this, but Launch Code will actually offer Coder Grow on site at Rung. So starting in August, all of the Coder Girl classes will be offered at Rung. So we're super excited about that partnership. But once they make more money, we want them to ensure that their money works for them. And so each member will have access to a financial coach who will help them reduce debt, build assets, plan for the future. And all of this, Nikki, is really undergirded by members having access to a coach. So each member for the first 6 months of their journey at Rung will be matched with a coach. And their coach is really their accountability partner. So, in the spirit of wanting to take that time to do some deep introspection so that we don't keep making the same mistakes over and over again, Me 101 is the first 6 months of the journey where each member will be matched with a coach. Their coach is their accountability partner. The coach helps them set their goals. So they might have a wellness goal, they might have a career goal, they might have a financial goal, but their coach is really the person who is working with them to establish SMART goals and then helping them think about how they navigate all of the services in the building to achieve those goals.
Wonderful. And then I know you talked about the members and you identifying the gap or the space, I would say, that you wanted to move past crisis. So
Yes.
who is this woman who's applying to be a member at Rung?
Yeah. So minimum age 21. So we debated long and hard. Should it be 21 or 25? When do you have that aha moment like, okay, I'm ready to get my stuff together, right? We all have been there at some point, but we landed on 21. So minimum age 21, have 6 months of work history. So have some time in their past where they have consistently worked so that we have the assurance that they can work. high school diploma or GED. So again, not a service that we will provide on site. So we're asking that they come with at least those minimum credentials. Identify as a woman, have stable housing, because we know that, if you're couch surfing or homeless, housing is your first priority. And so we want them to have stable housing. Doesn't mean they can't be living with a family member or in a transitional living program, but they need to have some stability. And then finally, making $50,000 or less per year. And that's individual income. So it is not based on family income. It's based on her individual income.
Okay. I'm glad you broke all that down, and even the individual
Mm-hmm.
of that, because I know the perception um, initially was, okay, this is for the struggle, those who are in the struggle,
Yeah,
those who may be, like really needing help, like
yeah.
desperately needing help. But it's not that. It's not
No,
that at all. It is.
yeah, it is not. And I am very clear. Like, if you show up and have an immediate income need, Rung is not the place for you. Like, if you show up and you're like, I need a job now, we are not the place, because we are going to require that you invest 6 months in coaching from the very beginning. So the first 6 months are all about you, all about setting those goals, all about doing some, assessments and career interest inventories and behavioral assessments, just to figure out, like, what do I want to be when I grow up?
Okay.
Right. And so you can't present with an immediate income need and do that work, because the income is
Your
going to be
priority is going to be totally in a different place.
absolutely.
Yeah. Now I know the Rung member journey. There was like the membership experience 101, the
Mhm.
professional growth, and then the personal growth.
Yeah.
How long is this journey? Because you speak of the 6 month, but then there's
Yeah,
a lot.
so it's a minimum of 6 months. And that 6 months is about 2 hours a week. So about 10 hours a month for the first 6 months. It's not bad, right? I mean, I would take 2 hours to invest in me.
If I were 10 years younger, oh yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So 2 hours a week, 10 hours a month for the first 6 months. And then beyond that, it really depends on your goals. So if it takes you 3, 5, 10 years to complete your goals, you are always a Rung member. Some will get through it quickly, because they want to, go from an LPN to an RN, or they want to get into a medical coding career or a technology career. So, most of our curated credentialing programs and trainings are 2 years or less. So we expect that at a minimum, from 6 months to probably 2 years, depending on the goal.
Okay, wonderful. So
Yeah.
then you have that. What's the cost for
For
those who are looking?
cost to membership is absolutely no cost to members. So I hesitate to use the word free,
Because there
because
is an investment.
there is an investment, right? There's an investment of time, and you've got to show up, you got to do the work, but there is no
There's
cost,
no monetary fee.
no monetary fee.
Okay. This is this
I
this
know.
whole formula is like
Yeah.
beyond amazing. I love this wraparound. Like there is no excuse.
There is no excuse other than, we recognize that some women will not be able to wrap their brains around time right now. And so we do recognize
And a
that
level of accountability. Like
there is a
you,
level of,
you have to be ready
yes,
to
yes,
have that partner walk with you.
absolutely.
I'm telling you,
It's not going to be easy, and it will be painful at times. Think about any kind of coach,
yeah,
football coach, Super Bowl's coming up, life coach, those are your accountability partners, and they're going to give you that tough love that, as an adult, you maybe haven't had those types of experiences.
right, right.
So, we recognize that it will be very different for some.
Yeah. Now with the partners, the
Mhm.
other partners that you have on site, I know that there's a very, very strong emphasis on what we call social capital.
Yes.
And this is your volunteer space.
Yes.
Please share with us. I know there's like five different, I believe, like five different levels to get engaged. And I'm
Yes.
raising my hand now
Oh, yay!
to let me know how I can help.
Of course.
As I learned of it, I was like, oh, I could do this, or I know
Yeah.
you can do that.
There really is something for everyone, right? So if you are, at an age and stage in life where you have some time to give, you can truly be an inspiration to someone else. So if you want to just work in the garden, that's an option. If you want to dig in deep and be a mentor partner, which we stray away from using like the traditional mentor type title, because there's a hierarchy that comes kind of with being a mentor, and we really see this as a partnership. So we hope that our members will learn from our mentors and the mentors will learn from the members. And so that is probably a level of time commitment that is most intense. But there are career circles. So, if you're in a particular field where women are underrepresented and you want to come talk to members about what you do day in the life of, there are affinity circles around a variety of careers. There's speed networking. Again, we have a number of corporate partners who are interested in sponsoring speed networking so that their employees can come share what they do and get to know Rung members. And then what else? I mean, there will be any number of building level supports needed, because we will, as of March 1st, be open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and 2 Saturdays a month. And so, just greeters, people to help in child watch, likely need help in the kitchen, preparing daily grab and go meals. There will be a variety of volunteer opportunities, but those 5 in social capital right now are the ones that we're recruiting for.
And that's the
Mentoring, career circles.
career circles, affinity groups, workshops, and speed
Yep.
networking.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, do there outside of the there's an application, I believe, on your website where individuals
Mhm.
can go in and plug in, and you're able to, I guess, select which option, or
Yes.
is it?
Yep. So we, we're pretty protective of our people, and so there is a application and an interview
Okay.
for volunteers, and so depending on which pathway you're interested in, there might be some other like assessments, just so that we help. Like if you want to be a mentor, we use an assessment called predictive index, and that helps us match mentor and member, because you don't have a lot of time. It's not like you're dating. You don't have a lot of time to get to know that person. So we want the match to be really fruitful from the beginning. And so we use an assessment. So those are the types of intentionality that we're really focused on, to make sure that the match is the right one and it's a good relationship from the start, recognizing it's not going to be perfect all the time, but we do want to make sure that we're getting good volunteers, and volunteers who are coming to Rung for all the right reasons.
Right. And understanding that um, it's not just about the mentee, and I'm using that, or the member,
Right.
but also the volunteer also benefits from this whole experience. So making sure that they are also being value added, but also receiving
Absolutely.
value as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, our partnership with the Women's Foundation is really focused on, there as a group of women who have, in theory, amassed a level of success in their own careers. And now they have something to offer, but our members have as much to offer. And so we want to just make sure that everyone is, is spending time well and getting a lot out of the experience.
Wonderful. And the website is Rung for Women.
Yep, Rung, RUNGFOR women.org. And so also, I would be remiss if I didn't say we are always accepting applications for membership. So if anyone in your audience is interested in becoming a member, they can go online and complete an interest application, which essentially puts them in a queue for the next class.
And so I understand the first class filled up.
Yes.
There was a goal.
Yes.
And COVID, it was a little short, but your short is not a normal short.
No, it's not. I had a goal of 1,000 applicants, and I think we got to like 965 or something like that.
I was cracking up when Morgan said, we didn't make our goal. But yeah. Really 30, you're missing 30.
Yeah. But, I will tell you, lesson learned, social media and word of mouth are really what work. Like, those of us in the nonprofit are always thinking about how do we get to the people, grassroots, get out there, pound the pavement, knock on doors, whatever the case may be. And because of COVID, all of our outreach has been through social media and word of mouth. And that is how we got almost 1,000 applicants.
That's a lesson even in itself to someone to even understand. Like, it seems so basic, so simple. And I think sometimes when we are like, you have such an extensive career in nonprofit, and there are methods that have just like, that is the method. And to have to reverse that frame of thinking,
yes,
or was a little like,
it was unnerving, right? Because I'm like, what do we do now? Because I've done campaigns. I worked in Girl Scouts, so I've done membership. I know how to go out and find people, and social media was not always a tool that we had, and so
once we had it, you're still leery.
Like, yeah.
Hey, this is not like who we're looking for is not on here.
Yes, or who they might be here, but how do you get to them if they're not part of your network, right? So I tell you, our team did just an amazing job of getting creative, finding new and interesting ways to attract people to our brand. And it just has been spreading and not even really a ton of media interest either. I would say that
the social media has been intense.
It's been intense. It is one person.
Oh gosh. Because I've been watching it. I'm like, okay, let me get in on the front end.
Yes.
Before they get saturated.
Yeah.
Started.
It has been intense. So I am really proud of our team for, all of the creativity that has gone into like getting us to where we are today. Will be probably by Friday, we'll have our first class established. I know, super exciting. So we're reviewing applications right now. Christina's probably looking at them as we speak, reading hundreds of essays. So,
and those is it every 3 months or?
So ideally, it will be in 2021. We're doing 2 cohorts. So we'll do a cohort that'll start in March, and then we'll do another one probably September or October, just because it's our first year. We wanted to allow some space to evaluate what's working, what's not. And then starting in 2022, we'll do a cohort every quarter. So roughly 500 women a year.
Okay. And speaking of cohort, you have a team, a fireball team that you have together.
Our team is amazing.
Yes, you are. I'm like, okay, look, she's just getting them all and scrolling through. So you have your cohort, but not only your team for Rung, but you also have a board that you're engaging with. You have your in-house partners.
Yep.
How are you as a leader navigating all of that complexity?
Yeah, so we have core values that I live and breathe, and my favorite is joy.
I knew you were gonna
Yeah, I lead from a place of joy. I lead from a place of transparency. I don't pretend to have all the answers. I pride myself often on not having the answers and allowing other people to come up with solutions and supporting them in that work. And so, I just think, we have a level of authenticity and trust that we've established with our team and also with our co-design staff, right? They just joined us in December. So each partner has a staff person assigned to Rung, and they're working in the building in the midst of COVID. It's scary times for everyone. And I just believe in being transparent. I'm scared too, but I'm fearful and I have the same fears that everyone else does. But Nikki, Rung is so necessary right now. We're more necessary now than we've ever been before.
And
You know, in
that's
December alone, 140,000 job losses, and they were all women.
for women.
Yes.
I'm passionate about this work, and I totally understand. And
Yes.
we're dealing with so many things and having to navigate. And so, you being a woman that's at the helm of all of this.
Yeah, I'm relentless. I'm not stopping. The team knows that I set a really high bar and standard for myself because we women need us. I mean, we don't have time to waste.
What's keeping you up though?
Oh, COVID's keeping me up for sure. We built a 46,000 square foot building, very intentional around community and wanting, women to build community, be in person. You saw it. I mean, it is all about being here and being here now. So, the fact that we can't convene in large numbers, it makes us have to sort of shift and pivot our mission in ways that we had never imagined. So, COVID is keeping me up. I will tell you also, what keeps me up is scale. Like, we are in St. Louis. I know we're necessary in the region, but there are other communities that need Rung for Women. And so, how we scale strategically, um, without like cannibalizing or compromising on our values and our quality. We're not transactional. We are not a transactional organization. We are transformational. And so it's a heavy investment of time, it's costly, it's expensive, but I feel like if we make this investment, the world is better for it much longer, right? Than those one-off little things, go get a job, stay there, go, no, let's help women transform their lives so that now moving forward for the future and for the rest of their lives and for generations to come, we fix this problem. So I don't continue to see kids in foster care, right? Because we stopped this continuous cycle of poverty. So those are the things that really keep me up at night. I know COVID is short term, but it is another layer that really, is just out of our control. And then scale, where do we go next? How do we keep fidelity to our program? How do we continue to really focus on quality and transformation and not compromise and get into this transactional stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're the leader, you're the president. Your legacy. What is it that you want to leave behind when
Oh
that
my
day, when
gosh.
it does come?
Oh my gosh. It's funny because I often say to people, this is Allie's legacy, right? Like it's her vision. I just have the great fortune to be able to bring it to life. Um, but I do,
So your handprint. What will
yeah,
you?
yeah, I was gonna say. So I mean, it's humbling to be able to build this thing from scratch. And so if I could predict my own future, I'm so curious to see like what will come of it and what will we do next, right? Because this version of Rung for Women, I think is just our starting point.
I do.
So I I'm probably not answering the question because I really don't know, but I like to build things. I'm a fixer. So I just want to keep solving these, huge world problems.
Yeah. And then you mentioned your leadership style being that of collaborative, being very transparent. What advice would you give to someone, like, again, you've had such a complex and layered journey in like 3 years and without a vision initially
Yeah.
that mirrored where you are now.
Yeah.
So what insight would you give to others who are probably not dealing with all that you are, but there's
Yeah. I would say like be authentic and just don't compromise on your personal values. So often we get into roles that have big titles and big responsibilities, and people show up like not who they really are. And I really try to pride myself on being like real, authentic. What you see is what you get. And I'm also really direct. Like I don't sugarcoat a lot of things. Sometimes my team is like, did she really just say that? But it is what it is. And I just don't feel like as a community we have time to sugarcoat anything because there are lives at stake. And, we just have to take the bull by the horns and go for it. And so I think authenticity would be, my big sort of takeaway, and hire good people, right? Don't be afraid to not be the smartest person in the room.
yeah, that's good to know.
Yep. And finally, trust. Like if you hire good people, make sure you trust them and that you spend time establishing trust. Because when you're in the trenches and you're going into war, like you got to be able to trust your team. And they got to know that you have their back. And so, our team is small but mighty right now. Our leadership team is super solid. And, I feel great about the work that we're doing.
Wonderful. So you have the platform right now to share a message to your incoming class
Mm.
of members
Mm.
and prospective members.
Mm.
And we call this, the last thought in the nick of time.
I love it.
So what would you tell, you can even just take a moment, just inhale, exhale, but what would you tell this incoming membership? What message as the leader of this experience, this transformative experience that they're about to enter, what do you want to tell them?
Ooh, I would say don't squander the opportunity. I mean, that's just being real, being direct. Like this is an opportunity. And the 125 that are selected were selected because we could see that they were intrinsically motivated to change their lives. Now is the time. Don't waste the time and don't squander it, because it will be life changing if you do the work. If you do the work, your life will change forever. Not just short term, but forever. I mean, we have, and I'll just leave this last thought. We did a pilot with 12 women who we offered 12 weeks of coaching. And in 12 weeks, every single prospective member who participated said their life was changed in 12 weeks without all of the other stuff. All they had was coaching. So coaching is a game changer for people in poverty, people living in the middle. Like coaching has been afforded to us, as executives, as leaders, you're offered an executive coach or da 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 da. But it is a game changer for this population. So don't squander the opportunity. Don't squander it.
Well said. Well
Yeah.
said. I echo you because all that you have mentioned and just me walking through seeing what's waiting on this incoming group,
Mhm.
when I tell you,
Yeah.
oh my God, I can't even imagine. I just hope that you guys have to have them. Yes, they wrote essays at the beginning, but they need to write something at the
Oh
end.
yeah, that's a fantastic idea. Yeah,
That
yeah.
could be you can publish that
Yes, I love that idea.
only because I
And
mean,
we'll call it In the Nick of Time.
no, no,
I love that idea.
all about run because I'm telling you, to walk through that building and see what is waiting on them.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh my God. So I just want to make sure that you know this platform is here for you as
I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I really do. I've been following you and seeing all the great things you're doing. So
no, and me
we
too.
are connected. So
Yes, yes,
I'm grateful for that.
yes, I am raising my hand. However, it is I can pop in. I will do my homework and go out and fill
Okay.
the application.
Sounds good.
But as things come up anytime, just let us know. We can shoot it on our end or,
Okay.
announce
Yes.
what's going on. And then Leslie Gill, I just want to just may God continue to bless you and just enlarge your territory um,
Please.
as you
Thank
begin to, I mean, beyond your wildest dreams, because
you.
this is bigger than St. Louis.
Oh yeah, it
And,
is. I
and I
mean,
believe you're the person, they have the right person to do the job.
oh, thank you. That
Yes,
means a lot. I really appreciate that. I
yes.
really
So
do.
we are here to support, and I look forward to circling back around and touching base or seeing you in the hallway.
Or right, and telling our stories, telling the stories of members as
Yes,
they achieve success, because
yes.
it will happen quickly.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So I want to just thank you, Leslie Gill, president of Rung for Women here in St. Louis, Missouri, over in the Fox. What is that? The
Fox
Fox
Park,
Fox
Fox
Park
Park neighborhood.
neighborhood.
Mhm.
Make sure those of you who are not in St. Louis, make sure you Google. It's Rung for the RUNGFOR women. SWOMEN.org.
Yep.
And but we'll make sure that we put all that information also where you can circle back if you are wanting to seek out membership or volunteer. There's
Yes.
something for everybody, so we'll make sure we get that information out. I want to thank each and every one of you for listening to another segment of Conversations in the Nick of Time. I am your host, Nikki Roach, and want to thank Sparkman Pathway to Careers, to also KSTL 690 for being the power behind this platform to make sure that we are presenting you with solid instructions, solid insight to make sure that your leadership shifts. We're going to have excellence and we're going to have accidents. It's the nature of the beast. But considering that, remember, you have everything, already have everything you need to be successful. And that's success as you define it. Just go, tap in it, be good, and be great. Until next time, be blessed.